celebrating the power of potential in all of us.
Noon tomorrow. Be there. Aloha. The second-ranked Buckeyes will host the eighth-ranked Nittany Lions in what you would think would be a close matchup. According to Caesars, though, Ohio State is an 18.5-point favorite. It's the fifth largest spread between two top 10 teams in the last 40 years. This is my old friend of not quite 40 years, Rece Davis from Columbus.
I'm trying not to, but I have to. Channel my inner Keith Jackson. On the banks of the old Intangi sits the old Horseshoe, Ohio Stadium. Buckeyes and Penn State at noon in Columbus. Showdown for the Big Ten East. Ohio State can clinch a spot in the Big Ten championship game. And Kirk, they get their star pass rusher Chase Young back after missing 2 games to a suspension.
Yeah, Chase Young is amped up and ready to go, healthy for this stretch run for the Buckeyes. Penn State offense, you got to think they're coming up with ways to try to diffuse the athletic ability, not just of Chase Young, really the entire defense. I think you'll see more tempo from Penn State, try to get that Ohio State athletic defense on its heels, especially playing on the road with the crowd potentially being a factor. If you're James Franklin, I think you got to roll the dice, be aggressive, take chances, not just ease yourself into this game. I think that could cost them if they do.
And Penn State hoping that KJ Hamler, the wide receiver, is able to play, and Sean Clifford, the quarterback, a native of the state of Ohio. Right. This is an important game for him. The Buckeye offense has been explosive both on the ground and through the air.
Yeah, and I think the balance, it's not just J.K. Dobbins, although he's a big part of it, but the threat of Justin Fields as a quarterback that can not just throw but run. I think that's a concern for Penn State because they've got to keep a couple extra guys' eyes in that backfield, and that's where I think Fields and a very talented group of receivers could have a big day throwing the ball.
Because if they have to get pressure because I don't think anybody believes Penn State's corners will be able to hold up long term there. We'll see if Gross Matos can get to Justin Fields. Boy, these two have played some classics. Will they do another one on Saturday?
All right, back to the NBA. It's Friday. That means there's some big names in action tonight. Let's start with this game, 10:30 Eastern, ESPN, as James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and the Rockets take on Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the Clippers. Leonard and George, they made their debut together on Wednesday night. Let's see what they can do in Game 2 together. Also tonight, LeBron and the Lakers, they're going to try to keep their 5-game winning streak going. They're on the road in Oklahoma City, and right now, LeBron leads the league with more than 11 assists per game. Again, they're in Oklahoma City tonight. The Celtics continue their West Coast road trip. Kemba Walker and company, they're in Denver to take on the Nuggets. Both teams off to strong starts this season, and they're currently the second seed in their respective conferences. And then right after us, here on SportsCenter, 7 Eastern, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and the Sixers take on the struggling Spurs. San Antonio, 7 straight losses, their longest losing streak since '97, which was Greg Popovich's first year as the Spurs head coach. That just seems crazy to say. 22 years. It feels strange when you're talking about the Spurs in that manner. For more on the game, Cassidy Hubbarth is standing by in Philadelphia. And let's focus on the Sixers here for a sec, Cass. Ben Simmons, that long-awaited three-pointer, he finally hit it. All is well in the city of brotherly love. I mean, I'm kidding. It is just one shot, but how could that shot impact Ben's approach going forward?
Well, initially, what it means is that they can stop focusing on when he's going to hit that shot. Brett Brown, though, said it's a small step towards more growth, not just for Ben Simmons, but for the team as a whole, because this is a big team, and they are having some spacing issues. Now, if Ben Simmons can start making that shot, Brown said it certainly helps for all the obvious space issues, and it helps Ben grow to a different floor spot off ball. So basically what Brett said is that he lives in 2 spaces. He lives in the dunker, playing peekaboo, trying to get that dunk off, as he's very good at, and also the extreme corner where we saw him hit that 3. So if he can become more comfortable in that 3 spot over in the corner, that really adds a lot more space and a lot more room to grow and work for Al Horford and Joel Embiid.
Yeah, that would change everything for that entire team. All right, we will look at the standings in the Western Conference in a second, but when the Spurs are 5 games under 500 this early in the season, you know something has changed. Cassidy, what is the mood around this team?
Well, just first, I want to point out that Derek White is going to be out again with some soreness in his foot. But overall, the team is feeling, what I'm being told, grumpy, which doesn't bode well as I prepare for my first quarter interview with Greg Popovich, but that's neither here nor there. The 7-game losing streak, look, it's the longest this franchise has dealt with in 22 seasons. DeMar DeRozan summed it up by saying every single game we lose feels worse than the last one. right now they're just searching for answers. Pop made some changes in his starting lineup in the last game, taking out DeJounte Murray and Trey Lyles, putting in Patty Mills and Jakob Poeltl. No word yet, and if he's going to do that again in this game, as we're still waiting for the final starting lineup. But they're coming into Wells Fargo Center desperate and, as I said before, grumpy. And I'm not sure going up against the biggest antagonizer in the game in Joel Embiid if that is going to bode well for them in this one. Sage?
A grumpy Greg Popovich, Cassidy Hubbarth on the game crew tonight. Good luck to you during that interview with the coach, Spurs and Sixers tonight on ESPN. Thank you, Cass. And now to the standings. It almost looks like a typo, but look, guys, this is your bottom four. Bottom four in the Western Conference. Oklahoma City, 5-9, followed by those Spurs who have not missed the playoffs since 1997. The bottom two are the two teams that faced off in last year's Western Conference Finals, the Trailblazers and the Golden State Warriors. And I think it's safe to say, let's just say, their 5-year run to the finals could be over.
Plung up and under, finger roll it good.
Ooh, he gave Ramey the business. And Patrick's getting the crowd going. Look at this.
Game one from the Garden in the books. Hoyas over the Longhorns. Carey spins, left hand. Oh, look out. Vernon Carey Jr. That'll do it at 87-52. What great work tonight from Vernon Carey Jr.
Professional basketball returned to Madison Square Garden this week for the first time since Patrick Ewing retired, courtesy Patrick Ewing, who last night at that Empire Classic semifinal fired up the Georgetown-friendly crowd, well, the Patrick Ewing-friendly crowd. 25 years ago it was, Patrick, arms over his head, exhorting the Garden faithful to scream for the Knicks. I swear this used to happen. Last night, though it's a suit, not a uni, same deal, same response. Good times, great oldies, Georgetown 82, number 22, Texas 66. It was like back in the Knick days, Ewing said after interacting with the crowd. Patrick will be at it again tonight, Georgetown versus Duke, for the tourney title. And it's two-time ACC Coach of the Year, Seth Greenberg, joining us now. Firstly, thoughts, Seth, about Patrick and the Hoyas? They've not made the tournament since 2015. Could that change this year under Patrick Ewing?
It could change this year. And you think about Patrick Ewing, he wasn't given the Georgetown job. He earned the Georgetown job. Think about the guys he worked for in the NBA. Stan Van Gundy, Steve Clifford, Jeff Van Gundy. I mean, he's paid his dues. He's not a good coach. He's a terrific coach that puts players in positions to play to their strengths. And seeing him back in the Garden, being a guy that grew up a Knicks fan, and seeing how his team played, what a great reflection of what college basketball is all about, and also Patrick and his commitment to bringing Georgetown back.
Now, all they have to do to win this little tournament is to pass this small, not too basketball famous school, Duke, I think they call it. So they lose Zion, R.J. Barrett, Reddish to the NBA. Duke was number 4 in the preseason polls. Now they're number 1. What impressed the voters about them to create that leap? What impressed you about them?
Well, what impressed me about him is, you start on the defensive end. I mean, Duke was absolutely terrific defensively. They don't defend this, they disrupt. And then they've got a big guy in Vernon Carey, and Vernon Carey's been terrific. But watch how Duke guards. This is old school Duke basketball. Pressure on the ball, keep it on the side. Trey Jones, he's absolutely terrific. He can defend the ball, which allows the wing guys to get up the line, get in passing lanes, knock balls away, and get out in transition. Their defense has been terrific. And then they have a difference maker. This guy, Vernon Carey, at 6'11", reminds me a little bit of Karl Anthony Towns. I know Duke fans, relax. I'm talking about a Kentucky guy, but Carey, he can score on the block. He can shoot the three. A very good passer, does a great job of running the floor. When I look at teams that have a chance to win the tournament, Duke is one of them. But they're only one of maybe 13 that can win. Yes, 13. And most of the teams on this list are upper-class teams. The two outliers, Memphis and Duke. But if you look at it, Michigan State, a veteran team. Louisville, a veteran team. Gonzaga, a veteran team. If you look at the Final Four in the last few years, it's been senior, junior-oriented, teams with shared experiences, teams that have a toughness and a maturity to deal with the pressure of the NCAA tournament. Duke will be one of those, but I'll tell you one thing, it's a long list this year.
Yeah, players who know where the other guys are.
That's a good
Seth
thing.
Greenberg, always a pleasure to talk about college hoops. Great, thanks, Seth.
Thanks, Keith.
If you were calling us pretenders in the beginning, call us pretenders now. The moment you exhale and say, oh man, this feels good, that's when you get hit in the mouth.
RELAX. Relax.
business as usual.
Packers Sunday against the Niners. This is the beginning of it for the 49ers. After Green Bay, the Niners travel to Baltimore, then to New Orleans. All three teams currently 8-2. According to FPI, this is the most difficult three-game stretch for any team this season. Ain't a breeze for Aaron Rodgers either. Let's go camping.
I'm Nick Wagner with the 49ers. Tight end George Kittle has been in great pain over the last couple weeks, not just because of the ankle and knee issues that he's been dealing with, but because he's had to watch the last two games from the press box. But if all goes well over the next couple of days, Kittle figures to make his return in time for Sunday night's showdown against Green Bay. Kittle has practiced on Thursday and Friday, and Coach Kyle Shanahan has called him a game-time decision. But if you talk to Kittle, he sounds like a man who's planning to play. I asked Kittle this week if the stakes of this game make it more important for him to return. He said, "It's definitely a massive game. It's one I don't want to miss."
I'm Rob Domowski with the Packers. The Aaron Jones touchdown machine rolls into San Francisco. But the question is, will the bye week halt its momentum? Jones shares the league lead in touchdowns thanks to his 3-score game in the week before the Packers off week. While the 49ers possess one of the most diverse running games in the NFL, that's actually a 3-headed attack, the Packers expect to rely on their combination of Jones and Jamal Williams. While Jones acknowledged how productive the 49ers run game can be, he said this week, "We feel like we have the best 1-2 punch in the NFL, and Jamal and I will be ready."
Still to come on SportsCenter, setting the stage for NFL Week 12 battles of playoff contenders. Damian Woody standing by to predict Sunday's marquee matchups. And what could have been for Colin Kaepernick. We have new comments from someone who was there before Colin relocated his workouts.